Welcome to CatFactsFunny, quiet corner of the internet where we gently listen to the emotions cats cannot say out loud. Before we begin, let me ask you something small, simple, and strangely haunting. Have you ever seen your little purrball sitting in a soft beam of afternoon light, and just for a heartbeat it looked as though a tear had slipped from the corner of their eye? A tiny droplet clinging to their whiskers as if some secret feeling had suddenly grown too big to stay hidden? Maybe you tried to convince yourself it was just dust or a bit of moisture. Maybe you shook your head and said, "Cats don't cry." But some quiet part of you held onto that moment anyway, because something in their expression felt deeper than surface-level biology. Today, you and I walk into that question together. Not to prove whether cats cry like humans do, because that answer is more complicated than yes or no, but to understand how cats express sadness, longing, emotional need, and the quiet ache of connection through behaviors most people overlook. If you have ever wondered what your cat feels beneath the silence, this is your story. The moment you think you saw a tear, there is a moment almost every cat parent remembers, even if they tucked it inside their chest and never spoke about it. A moment when their cat was sitting by a window or curled in a dim corner, and the light struck the face at just the right angle, revealing a glistening drop slipping from the edge of the eye. For a second, everything in the room stops. The human leans forward. They wonder if the cat is crying, if something broke inside that small chest, if a feeling finally spilled over and took shape. Cats do not cry in the way humans cry, not because they don't feel deeply, but because their tears are not wired to emotional release. Their tear ducts work for physical reasons: dryness, irritation, dust, or a tiny swelling inside the eyelid. But the human heart is quick to interpret what it desperately wants to understand. And so the moment we see moisture sliding from their eye, we feel something in us tightening gently, as if the universe whispered that this little creature feels more than we assume. But the truth is this: a cat may not cry emotional tears, yet they communicate sorrow, confusion, and disappointment in ways that are even more intimate, even more vulnerable. And once you know how they express sadness, you will never mistake a watery eye again. Because real sadness in a cat has nothing to do with liquid. It lives in quiet behaviors that are easy to miss unless you listen with more than your ears. The sadness that doesn't fall as tears. A cat's sadness is soft and slow. It does not shout. It does not flood. It sinks beneath their fur like a dimming light. Human sadness tends to rise and overflow. Feline sadness moves inward and darkens the small spaces of their routine. They show it in hesitation, in the way they pause before jumping to a familiar place, in the way they walk toward you but stop halfway as if unsure they are allowed to ask for comfort. If you have ever seen your cat sitting with their paws tucked tightly under their chest, body curled but not relaxed, eyes half closed yet not sleepy, you may have seen a shape of sadness that looks like stillness. Cats withdraw when their emotions feel heavy. They reorganize themselves into quiet shapes. They hide inside their own silence. But make no mistake, they feel. They feel with an intensity humans often underestimate. They just do not shed emotional tears because their biology never shaped them that way. Instead, they press their feelings into the world through different doors, through sound, stillness, avoidance, seeking, and the tiny ways they ask for reassurance without ever using words. And so the question, do cats cry, becomes softer, because maybe the answer was never about tears. Maybe the right question is, how does a cat show you its sadness? The voice they use instead of tears. When a human cries, their voice wavers. When a cat feels distress, its voice changes too, but in a uniquely feline way. They may call out more often, with a tone that carries a thin ribbon of urgency, like a sound stretched just slightly too far. Their meows might become longer, higher, or strangely shaped. If you listen carefully, you will notice that emotional discomfort in a cat colors their vocalizations in subtle ways that feel almost like tremors. A cat who feels lonely might meow with an echoing softness, like a question being asked over and over. A cat who feels anxious might push their voice out without fully forming it, creating small, broken sounds. And a cat who feels ignored, confused, or disconnected from their human, may meow once, wait, and then meow again with a different texture, as though testing which version of their voice will reach your heart. This is the closest they come to emotional tears. Not in moisture, but in the tremble of their voice. Cats carry their sadness not in their eyes but in the pitch of their calls. And unlike tears, their sound does not fall but reaches. It reaches toward you with the hope that you will look up and recognize what they are trying to say. The slow blink that isn't always love. Most humans know the slow blink as a love gesture, a soft message that says, "I trust you, I feel safe with you." And while this is true, there is another shade of the slow blink that many never consider. A cat who feels emotionally fragile may slow blink not only out of affection but as a quiet invitation for support. This version of the slow blink is gentler, almost uncertain. It lingers a little longer at the closing point, as if the eyelids rest in the dark for a moment before reopening. This is a cat's way of telling you, "I don't want to be alone with this feeling." It is not quite a request and not quite a confession. It is something in between. When your cat looks at you with that long, heavy blink, and their body remains low, and their breathing tightens slightly, you may be witnessing a moment when their emotions brush close to the surface. It is not crying, but it is an expression born from the same place in the heart, a longing for connection in the midst of vulnerability. The way they walk away from what they want. Sadness in cats can make them behave like they are standing at a door they want to walk through but cannot bring themselves to cross. If a cat who normally asks for affection suddenly walks toward you, pauses near your leg, and then retreats without making contact, it is not rejection. It is hesitation born from emotional conflict. They want closeness, but something inside is pulling them back. Maybe they feel uncertain. Maybe they feel overlooked. Maybe they feel that the bond between you and them grew quieter in recent days, and they are unsure if they are still welcome in the center of your attention. Cats feel emotional imbalances deeply. They sense when the rhythm of affection changes, even slightly, and so they walk away from what they want, not because they don't want it, but because sadness disrupts their confidence. The world shrinks a little. The energy to ask for comfort drains. And the cat becomes a small figure wandering at the edge of the room, circling the warmth they crave but cannot step into. This is a feline form of crying, not through tears but through retreat. The touch they avoid when their heart feels heavy. There are days when a cat who normally accepts your hand with a soft tilt of their head suddenly turns away. They walk past you without slowing, or they shift their body just an inch to avoid contact. This is not anger. It is a fragile shield. Cats hide emotional discomfort behind physical avoidance. When their feelings feel tangled inside them, they may find touch overwhelming. Their body wants to fold inward, not open outward. And so they protect themselves by withholding, by keeping their fur slightly out of reach. This avoidance can be so subtle that you might think it's incidental. But for a cat, every movement carries intention. When they turn away from your hand, they are telling you that something in their emotional landscape feels unsettled. This is their version of wiping away a tear before anyone can see it. Your cat's emotional life is real, even without tears. Humans link sadness with tears because our bodies are shaped that way. But a cat's emotional landscape does not need water to exist. Their sadness, their longing, their confusion, their loneliness. These emotions live in the small decisions they make every day. They express them in behaviors, in tones, in hesitations, and in the spaces where they choose silence over sound. So maybe the question, do cats really cry? Has always been too narrow. Maybe the truth is that cats experience sadness without tears, and express love without words, and communicate longing without sound. Their emotions are subtle, but they are honest. Their feelings are quiet, but they are deep. And once you learn to see their emotional language, you will realize something profound. Your cat has been telling you everything all along. You just needed the right kind of listening. Why a soft step back into the light? Thank you for spending this quiet moment with me here at CatFactsFunny. These small emotional windows are easy to miss in the rush of daily life, but they matter more than we realize. Your cat may not cry, but they feel, they hope, they trust, and they choose you in ways that don't need tears to be powerful. So go gently with them. Offer them steadiness, not pressure. Offer them presence, not insistence. And allow their soft language to become one of the quiet loves in your life. I'll see you in the next story. Until then, may you and your cat share a little more understanding today than yesterday, and even more tomorrow. Keep yourself in Cat Universe and don't forget to like and subscribe.